Are we filming? Yes, we're filming. Welcome to Sofa Science. Why don't you have a... I've just turned you on. Why don't you have a jingle?
I already had a jingle for Shed Science, but not for Sofa Science.
Come on in.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sofa Science. I am not Sally LePage, but this is...
I am Sally LePage.
We're doing Sofa Science in reverse, and finally it's my plus our turn to interview Sally.
Yeah, so this is really weird. We were chatting about doing a Sofa Science. You're like, you should do a Sofa Science.
Well, I thought, I've been watching or listening to Sally's, and I think, but I want to know what your story is. What's your backstory? So we're saying, hey, you should do one of your own.
Because I quite like asking the questions and just asking questions. I love being nosy about other people, and then I don't have to divulge anything.
Yeah.
But this is going to be so weird. Because I expect everyone else to be really honest and open.
Right.
And it's like, well, I don't know how to open.
But also, actually, it's lovely to see how open everybody is.
Yes.
And I think that most people have been really quite honest.
They have, yeah.
Which is really good, which is why this is a great series.
Which is why this will be a break from all the other ones.
So...
Are you going to have to pretend to be me?
What?
I don't know how you would do that.
Oh, I've got my hot
we've
chocolate
got
that I
hot
will sip
chocolate,
like
yeah.
this. Like Sally.
Is that how I sip my hot chocolate?
Yes, you do. You sip it very sweet. You sip it like it's a treasure.
I'm trying not to slurp it for the microphone.
For our audio listeners, we are
Yeah.
drinking hot chocolate made by Sally.
Yeah, we are.
It's very rich and tasty. And we are on a sofa. Double tick.
Yay.
Ticking all the boxes. But let's start where you always start, at the very beginning, with how did you get started on YouTube?
You did what I do, which is you say that's the first thing, whereas the first question is actually, who are you?
I mean...
I always make that mistake at the
Okay.
beginning of every video.
Okay, I think considering this is your channel, I'll ask it anyway. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Sally. I am a biology PhD student at Oxford, and I study evolutionary biology, and I also make YouTube videos, mostly about biology and that kind of thing.
The males are all desperate to mate, that sometimes they'll all jump on top of the female and, in their sexual frenzy, end up drowning her in the dung. Their desperate, selfish attempts to mate end up ruining the chances of everyone.
So how did you get started on YouTube?
Wow. So growing up as a young girl, I watched a lot of TV. It's so weird being on the other side of this. I would watch a lot of TV, a lot of David Attenborough. I mean, the first job I ever wanted was archaeologist, which was a cross between a vet and an archaeologist, because I watched a lot of Time Team and I watched a lot of Animal Hospital.
I am so down with archaeology.
Yeah, I know.
I
right?
really want to become a archaeologist
I wanted to do both. Because it's one of those weird things where I did watch so much TV and so much factual TV when I was young that very much shaped what careers I wanted. Because then I wanted to be a CBBC presenter, and then I wanted to be a natural history presenter.
That is so weird. It's pretty much exactly the same as me, except I'd probably throw in Scrap Heap Challenge, which is kind of like an engineering robotics.
Great.
Right?
I loved that show.
But it
where you had
did.
to throw the egg in the weirdest contraption without the egg breaking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'd agree, like, they massively shaped my career, what you watch.
And it just looked so much fun. And so I kind of I settled on natural history presenter, and I was like, okay, I want to work for the BBC Natural History Unit, make programmes like David Attenborough presenting, because I was always kind of interested in the drama side as well. I never did it a lot, but I did like a Saturday drama club thing, and I did a couple of school plays. Always interested in science as well, and nature. The nature side was just playing in the garden. And then at school, science wasn't so fun at school just because the curricula in science are so focused on human biology.
Yes.
So when it comes to biology, it's physiology, anatomy. It's basically preparing you for medicine.
I think you might learn about plant cells and a
Yeah.
little bit about photosynthesis, and that's about it.
There was one textbook page in the entirety, I think, of my A-level on evolution. Almost nothing on animal behaviour. And so that was what was really nice, actually, going to university, where I studied biology, was being able to do evolution and behaviour. I was very close between doing biology and maths, actually. I really enjoyed maths, did further maths at A-level as well. And I probably could have done maths at university, but I chose biology. But I still knew, okay, after my biology degree, I want to become a science presenter. And so I did my biology course, and I was watching a lot of YouTube at that time. I started watching Alex.
This is like a mirror version of like, it's so funny.
I know.
Anyway.
I was sitting through your
Yeah.
answers just thinking, she's going to be asking me all about this,
Yeah.
and it's going to be exactly the same. So I started watching Alex Day, who was the first person, and he was doing a Twilight series, and so I subscribed. I got a channel in order so I didn't have to keep checking back for that. Through him was like Charlie McDonnell and
Fun science.
exactly. He's now got a book. I can't wait for that to come out.
Well done, Charlie.
Yeah, well, it's come out already.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to get a copy of it.
I did. Well, I haven't got a copy of it, but I've seen it.
I
I've
thought
seen
it
the
was still
book.
in pre-order at the moment.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, I just thought. I mean, I saw an Instagram of it, so it must be real.
No, I think it's on pre-order. It looks like he's doing a series as well.
yeah.
It looks so good. I'm so glad he's doing science again. Slight digression. And so yeah, I started watching all the British YouTubers, and I thought, well, I can do that. And then it was probably around 2010, 2011 that people started doing science YouTube.
Yes, exactly.
So it was fun science to begin with, but then CGP Grey and Minute Physics, I think...
Vlog Brothers were kind of
Vlog
starting
Brothers were
to
kind of sciencey.
expand to
and
Crash Course.
SciShow had just started, and I
Yeah.
remember watching SciShow and thinking I could do this better. And
Take on that challenge.
well, it was just that they were doing it,
Agreed.
but they weren't going in any depth, which is fair enough because that's not what they want to do. But I was like, well, if they're doing it, well, I should do it. And if I want to be a science presenter, I don't really have any connections in TV. I knew everyone had told me natural history presenting is one of the hardest types of presenting to get into. Presenting in itself is a really competitive career.
Yeah.
It's so much about who you know. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any kind of skills, anything on my CV to say that I could do it other than just being a pure biologist. So who's going to hire someone straight out of a biology undergrad? I already had a DSLR camera for macro photography because I really enjoyed taking pictures of insects. Why not use that to film myself, make YouTube videos? I can teach myself how to edit, teach myself how to use a camera, lighting, writing a script, talking into a camera, and use that time when I was at university to get the practice, build up a portfolio, make my channel my portfolio, so that when I finish university, I can say, hi BBC, this is what I want to do. Did all that, started to get reasonably serious. So I think I started that in, I think it was the summer of at the end of my first year of university is when I started. Put it in a shed because for my 18th birthday, I got a shed. And so I think I was 19 when I started Shed Science.
And Shed Science is just a cool name.
It is. It's alliterative.
Yeah.
And I had to think of something. And I didn't really want to call it like Sally's Science or make it necessarily about me. But I thought Shed Science was quite cool. Turns out sheds are a very British thing. So lots of people think that I am shedding science, like getting rid of science.
Really?
And Americans don't really have sheds. So
What do they have?
They don't.
They don't do sheds.
Well, they think I'm saying shared. Like shared
Oh.
science. So it really doesn't translate very well. But hey,
Okay.
it's alliterative. The URL hadn't been taken, which is important. I think Sally's Science or something had been taken. And so, yeah, so I did that. And then it was getting reasonably popular. And then the end of my undergrad was coming to an end. And it was like, okay, I could get a real job. Or I could just stay at Oxford for a bit longer because I really enjoyed Oxford. I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted a career in academia or media at that point because there were a lot of people like Alice Roberts Alice Roberts is just my idol, full stop. A lot of the time I'm like, what would Alice Roberts do in this situation?
Dr. Alice Roberts, she's a...
Professor Alice Roberts.
Oh, yes.
She's now Professor of
Yeah.
Public Engagement at Birmingham. Not that I know. No, of course I know. She now follows me on Twitter. It's amazing. I know. So excited when that happened. And so, yeah, so I'd seen these, and Brian Cox as well, Jim Al-Khalili. These were all practicing academics who also made amazing BBC documentaries. And I was like, well, maybe, and in a place like a university, you're surrounded by academics, so they're always going to tell you should have a career in academia, because everyone tells you that you should go into their job. And I thought, well, I'm maybe 70% certain that I don't want to go into academia, but maybe I want to have a split. I knew I wanted media of some sort. I wasn't sure if I wanted media and academia or just media. So I thought I might as well do this PhD. I only applied for one, which is really stupid. Most people apply for like 6 or something. So if I
Congratulations.
Thank you. If I hadn't got it, God knows what I would have done. I was going to do the Science Communication Masters at Imperial, I think, if I hadn't got the PhD. But I did get the PhD straight after my bachelor's, so I didn't even do a master's course.
Nice.
And now I am in the start of my 4th year of my PhD.
Okay. Did the fact that your PhD would provide you some security and a base, and the fact that you could then continue to do YouTube on the side, was that something that was attractive to you?
Yeah, I don't think I would have done the PhD were it not funded. So if I had to work alongside it, but very few PhDs are like that in the sciences. And I don't think there's really any job where I wouldn't have been able to do YouTube along the side. If anything, with a PhD, it's quite difficult. I mean, yes, you're managing your own time, and so you can be flexible. Like, I can come and visit you in the middle of the week because my flies happen to come out at the weekend this week and not in the middle of the week.
Do your audience know about your PhD?
Yes.
So they know that you love a Drosophila in you?
Oh, yeah. They know. They are always asking me for more information about my science, which I cannot tell them until I publish.
Right.
And so, yeah, they know exactly that I am studying something to do with sex and something to do with flies and something to do with relatedness, if they've been paying attention. And I watch flies having sex, and at some point I will tell them when I publish. That's
great.
Kind of what they know.
But you're now the end of this PhD is drawing near. Do you think you're any closer to deciding which avenue you want to go down?
I'm 100% certain I do not want to stay in academia.
So you don't want to stay in academia anymore?
Yeah.
So what would you like to do?
Well, so it's really weird because when I was, so I'm 24 now. Sorry. I always get the response, oh my God, you're so young. So when I started, I was 18 doing university. The thought was always BBC Natural History Unit. That was the obvious place to go because they are like the world-renowned people for natural history. But then by the end of the undergrad, it's like, well, YouTube is now starting to be a viable, not necessarily for me, but for other people, a viable career path. And then now it's coming to the end of the PhD, YouTube is very much a viable career path. Like,
especially when it comes to science on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's growing and it's becoming more and more well known.
It's a really growing area. Businesses are really keen to put money into it, I think, compared to any other part of YouTube. And I am increasingly being offered jobs off the back of my YouTube, which is great. It's kind of what I started it for.
Yeah.
To be a portfolio. And increasingly I am being offered jobs where were I to take them all, I could go full time and make enough money to live, which is obviously I can't take them all because I'm doing the PhD. But so now it's looking like, well, yes, I could do YouTube full time after the PhD. And now it is my final year. I am trying to take YouTube more seriously again because the last 3 years the PhD took over a bit and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have time for both. I can't focus on both. Whereas now it's when most people would be searching through jobs pages looking for their jobs kind of at this stage in their PhD, I am investing that time into making YouTube videos. So again, when I finish my PhD, I can hit the ground running, and I'm a freelancer who already has connections.
But that has worked because, like you say, you've now got companies who are approaching you, you're being offered jobs, you're being offered sponsorship deals, which is great.
Yeah.
But subsequently your channel has grown a lot in a fairly short amount of time recently.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of your audience are fairly new subscribers. Tell me a little bit about where this sudden influx came from and how that has affected your channel and the decisions you make.
So I was stuck on about 7,000 subscribers for God knows how long. There used to be a lot of organic growth in the beginning when YouTube was smaller and there were fewer science YouTubers. Then I stopped focusing so much on the science. And then I did the job with GE. And the GE job in itself...
General Electric.
General Electric, I was creating residence for them in America. That job in itself didn't really bring me that many subscribers. But, I mean, amazing job opportunities. Like, I've had people give me jobs on the back of that. But in terms of subscribers on my own channel, it didn't really make much of a difference.
Yeah.
With the exception of, as part of the promotion for that, I went on a Rooster Teeth podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, that went down a storm. Literally overnight, I got another 7,000 subscribers. So I doubled my channel size overnight.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you have email notifications turned on for new subscribers?
I had email notifications turned on for new subscribers, for all comments, and Twitter notifications. And I very quickly had to turn off subscribers and Twitter notification emails. I kept on the comments emails until just last month.
But that is a nice moment as a YouTuber, because at first when you're starting out, you know, those little emails, they're a little buzz.
Yeah,
They're
especially
like,
if it's someone you know.
Oh, and it's great.
It's amazing.
It's like a little confidence boost in your day to see that you've got another subscriber. But when it gets to the point where actually that goes, that like almost like completely disrupts your inbox, that's brilliant, in a way.
Because
but
I was
think
in
it's
the
funny.
States when it happened, so I had very limited access to the internet on my mobile phone. I got back to the hotel, turned Wi-Fi on, and it was like my phone had turned into a vibrator. It was just buzzing the entire time. Like, it would not stop. It was ridiculous.
So you've done Rooster Teeth. You're now sort of...
I did Rooster Teeth. That brought up to about 15,000. Then again, another year went past. I was making a few videos, but not really many, and they were mostly vlogs from America, which got a reasonable amount of views, but nothing to really bring anyone in, which is fair enough. Went back to Rooster Teeth again, got another 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers, and then I very recently did a video on Tom Scott's channel, which was where we both kind of knew about each other, and actually before that we had emailed each other saying, because he was saying, oh, if you're a YouTuber and you want to work on something together, let me know. I kind of sent him an email saying, I watch your stuff, I really enjoy your stuff. I can't think of a reason why we should collab, and I'm not one of those people who's like, I want to collab with you, there's no reason to do it, but let's do it anyway. I think there should be a point to doing a collaborative video. And neither of us could really think of a way in which our two fields would overlap. And so we're like, okay, but we know about each other now. We know that we're both interested. And then when this thing came up, when he was going to the Arctic, it became very sensible.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, so Tom Scott went to the Arctic, which meant he had a gap on his channel where he wouldn't be around. So he invited guests onto the channel, and Sally was one of them.
Yeah. And that again brought in, I can't even remember how many now, probably about 10,000 over 3 days.
The power of collaboration.
Yeah, yes. I mean, pretty much the entirety of my growth has been through collaborations or shout-outs, be that Alex Danis, Miles Power, Rooster Teeth or Tom Scott. I think those are my main
So shout out to all of you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, incredible. And it really, more than I think any other thing, with the exception of the coming out video, which people search for.
Yeah.
With science videos, people don't tend to search for what is the evolution of bees, which is a video we're making. I doubt anyone will search the keywords bee evolution. And so it's quite hard to find science channels that way. And so much of it I've found is collabs to grow.
So your channel has grown.
Yes.
You now have a lot of subscribers.
Oh my God, yes.
That does put a certain amount of pressure on a creator. And your videos, as you've described, have gone sort of like through a journey that they started in a shed, and then they became more vloggy, and then they became non-existent, and now they're back in full force.
Yeah.
So how has this new audience affected the content or how you feel about it?
It's a very mixed bag, and also so much of it has happened so recently that it's very, I'm still in that transitional period of getting used to having so many new subscribers, because I've only made like 2 videos since this massive influx. I think one thing is that now I have more people watching, I feel more pressure to make good videos. In that I could just make a really simple video, something like the hawk video, the sparrowhawk video I made. That was almost to prove a point to myself that I didn't need to publish a perfect video.
Well, that's it. You just picked up a camera, you went on a little sort of
It was literally, I just saw these sparrowhawks outside my window. I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm a YouTuber, why not film it? And I thought, well, should I publish it or not? I don't know. And so I did. But then that got a bit of backlash because people had watched the Tom Scott video, which was very well produced, and I had scripted all of that and gone into animation. And then the link from that was the Tragedy of the Commons, which I had made for a competition, and again was so meticulously planned. I mean, I spent an evening filming beautifully silhouetted shots that didn't even make the cut.
Right.
Because it didn't fit in with the thing.
So you've got two sort of very highly produced, well thought out videos.
And those were the first videos that all of these new people had seen.
And then suddenly they see
something that's just turning on a camera.
Right.
And I also really wanted to start this So for Science series because I'd been in America and that's where so many of the science YouTubers were, and science YouTubing is quite lonely and quite isolating, and it is so nice that over the last year I've managed to make YouTube friends because we do share a lot of the same problems, we do go through the same experiences, and you just get it. Like, my Oxford friends, lovely as they are, they totally get it when they say, oh, my experiment isn't going well. They've been there, they know what to say. If I say, oh, I've had a string of spammers find my content, that means nothing to them.
Yeah.
Most of them don't even have YouTube accounts to subscribe to people with.
That always surprised me, how few people understand what subscribing means.
Yeah, so having friends like that's the reason for this series. But it's so different to my Shed Science videos. These are not well produced. They are long. They are not talking about science. They're talking about science communication. And I think initially I was naive to assume that
the audience
would be okay with that, because in my head it was still those 7,000 subscribers who I knew how they would react, and they were watching in essence for me rather than for the science. They I mean, they loved the science, but they were very much, they knew my story.
They were invested in you personally.
Yeah, they knew that I was someone who did biology undergrad, who always wanted to go into it full time, and that this was kind of my portfolio, and they knew that I was trying to get better. And so anything that I did, even if it was completely different, they'd be like, oh, I see she's trying out new stuff, good for her. Whereas a lot of these new subscribers were just like, you make content for me, your content is not pleasing me, therefore you have done a bad job.
Yeah.
And there was a great deal of entitlement, and that kind of, I don't like it, therefore you are rubbish. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not just making it for you, I'm making it for me. And so that has been quite difficult to get my head around. And I no longer feel like I know my audience or that my audience knows me. I get a lot more superficial comments. So now my attitude towards my audience has changed a lot, and I'm still kind of negotiating that at the moment.
I think you should all drop Sally a message and say hi. And sort of be like, I don't know, say something about yourselves and start a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of would be nice to know a bit more about them, but then again, it's always the same sort of people commenting.
I think this is also the sort. I mean, your channel is growing. These problems are going to come around, and you're going to have to work with them. So, considering that, bearing in mind that there are this new audience who are expecting a certain type of video, is that now affecting your choices of the videos you make?
Yes and no. Yes, because I know what they're expecting, and it's really weird because I'm now in the position where I know if I make a well-produced science video, that work will pay off, because my god, these people love science. Even though I have 35,000 subscribers, these videos will only get 2,000. A science video will get in the region of 9,000 or 10,000.
I wish I had that.
I mean, yes, I push the science videos more, but it's a very clear message that a lot of people are just interested in the science and not in vlogs and not in the simpler content, which is a bit of a shame because the vlogs are so much fun to make. But what was the question again?
Just so are you now consciously
Am
thinking,
I now consciously thinking, yeah,
I need to put out a very science-heavy video this week?
Yeah, so now I'm trying to intersperse the science with the science, So for Sciences, because I am aware that they are two very distinct audiences, and I don't want to bore one with the others. So, for example, I uploaded the human evolution video before I uploaded Simon's Sofa Science, even though they were filmed in the opposite order,
Right.
because I didn't want to have too many Sofa Sciences in a row.
So you're just trying to create a little bit of balance. So in a way, your audience and the content you're making is sort of, it's also creating your schedule for you as well.
Yeah. But having said that, I am conscious that I don't want to become dictated by my audience, and I am stubborn as heck and rebellious, and so, for example, that Hawk video, knowing that people were expecting good content from me, I put up badly produced content, and I'm deliberately keeping Sofa Science badly produced because I don't want to play into that expectation that I will only make good videos. I don't want to trap myself in that box just yet.
But also that the reality is you are still doing a PhD.
Yeah.
Those videos take an awful lot of time.
Yes.
And one of the wonderful things about these Sofa Sciences is that you've got a microphone, a camera, and you can put it in multiple places, because that's something worth saying, that this isn't just a video now. You've managed to turn this into a podcast, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and it takes like half an hour's extra work for me. And I mean, these videos are probably going to be like 45 minutes long, start to finish, if you ignore like the travel, because usually I'm traveling here for some other reason. It will take me 2.5 hours maybe 3 hours to upload the footage, edit to my computer, edit it through, do a thumbnail, find the extra videos to put in, write the questions in the description, and then upload it as a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it's a long video, but compared to the, say, 3 weeks, 4 weeks minimum it takes to make a Shed Science, that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got to make it work for you as well.
Yeah.
So, you've got this new audience. Hello to all of you.
Hello.
And the comments can be a little bit, okay, well, they can occasionally be critical. I'm sure lots of them are lovely. How do you manage your comment section? Do you have any issues there?
So now I've started managing them very recently. I used to pretty much keep all comments there. There were a few death threats on a GM video I made, kind of expecting that. That's only my second video, I think.
Oh, GM, right, yeah.
Genetic modification,
Yeah.
not GE. And unless they were super sexualized, like I'd rape her, or I'd kill her, or just spam, so those kind of massive essays, and they'll post 10 of them, and or multiple comments, or sub for sub, those kind of things, I delete them just because they're noise. I wouldn't delete anything else. Now I am really making a concerted effort to make my comment section an environment where I would want to make a comment myself. So I'm trying out, literally I've only done it on one video so far as we're filming this. My idea at the moment is for the first comment, me to post before it goes live, number 1, be kind, number 2, reply to each other, and number 3, make the comment section a place to be proud of.
And I do think being vocal in your own comment section of your videos makes a big difference.
Yes.
Because as soon as commenters or trolls or spammers know that they will be seen, they can't hide, and that you are in fact policing and monitoring the comments, it does make a massive difference.
Yeah, and now I am deleting comments that are not kind. That does not mean that I am deleting all critical comments, but if they're not being kind, I will get rid of them.
And you've said that's the case. You've made it clear.
And that got a lot of backlash.
Well, deal with it.
They're like, oh my god, like, but freedom of speech, and you can't just shut down opinions that don't agree with you.
But you're
like,
not.
but
You're
I'm
saying,
not.
saying if it, criticism's
Yeah.
fine.
And you will see in a lot of the comment sections there are comments that are critical, but there is a way of being critical and being kind.
Yeah.
And actually a lot of my audience are very good at that, because a lot of them are very technical people, like audio engineers and video engineers. And I had an amazing comment, which was on the Pokey Rap video. Someone said, like, oh, I really like the video, just so you know, the bald eagle sound that you made is actually a red-tailed hawk, not a bald eagle. It's a common mistake. I'm like,
Amazing.
this is a fab comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's telling me I got something wrong, but my God, is that fascinating.
Well done, that commenter.
I know, right? And so I do really like those comments. And I do try and respond to the good comments, but I feel like I'm at that awkward stage where I'm still small enough that I do read every single comment, and I do read every single one, including the ones that automatically go to my spam filter. I could reply to all of them, but there's also now getting this to the stage where lots of them are just like,
Hey.
good video, or hi, or... I mean, yes,
You
there
can't do it to
are
everybody.
still the I like your face, or I like your smile, or I like your accent, or this was a good way of explaining things, but they become less and less helpful or useful
Yeah.
or not so much constructive, but once you've had a few people saying I like this video, having an extra 10 comments saying I like this video doesn't provide me with much value. And
Which
I know
isn't to say they're not appreciated.
no, and I know that it's very nice of them to say it, but it just becomes like, well, what is this something I've really been questioning in the last month or so? Is what value do I get from
But
my
also,
comments?
it doesn't help if you've got 10 comments that are saying, hey, 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 hey. It doesn't help the comment section generally for you to go, hi, 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 hi back.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to respond to things where you've got something to say.
And I wish that my audience would talk to each other more, because I can't keep up a conversation with every single one.
Of course.
But they can have a conversation with a few of each other.
Yeah.
And I would love for them to do that, but I know, and I've seen that in other channels, but my audience isn't the demographic that do that. My audience are not teenage girls who tend to be the sort of people who come back to videos and check out the comments. My videos are, by and large, middle-aged or slightly younger men.
Yeah, what are your demographics?
At the moment, it's about a 94% male. It's going down. It was
Hello, lads.
at its highest. It was about 96% male.
Gosh.
It's going down a bit. It's mostly kind of the 20s, 30s, tailing off a bit. The men tend to be slightly older. The women tend to be slightly younger.
This is my question. Emily Grasley, she famously made a video
Where my ladies at.
amongst us science communicators on YouTube. Where my ladies at? Where are the ladies at? Why do you think they're not watching?
In the audience?
Yes.
Oh my god. Partly, Google doesn't ask you your sex. So Google does not know for certain whether you are a male or a female account. Mm-hmm. It assumes based on its algorithms. So if it sees someone watching things that it predominantly thinks men watch, it says that person is male. And I think that I would imagine that somewhere in the algorithm it will be something like, this person watches a lot of science videos, therefore probably they're male, which then becomes a positive feedback loop. Because then it appears to me, I think that there will be a lot of misidentified accounts within that number. Because they don't know for certain. If I did an actual census of everyone, I don't think it would be quite as biased as it is.
And also, not everybody watches YouTube using their own account.
Also, I'm female. That will have a massive thing to do with it.
Yeah.
The channels where I have got these massive... So all of my audience are from an influx. Tom Scott's channel is very male.
Yeah.
I looked at the analytics on the video that I did on his channel. That was about 95% male. Rooster Teeth is quite mixed, but it seems that the men were the ones to come over. I know that they've got a more mixed audience than the ones that came over. Miles Power had a male audience, and then once you start to build up a male audience, the comment section becomes noticeably male.
Yeah.
And I think that can be off-putting. I've actually had someone, I wrote really interesting comments saying, I would comment more, but I see the sort of comments on the channel and it puts me off, because I
Wow.
feel like I am in a minority in this comment section and I don't want to have to go through that hassle of defending myself if someone disagrees.
Gosh, there is a feeling that my point of view as a female in this comment section just might not be taken at all. Just won't be well considered.
It requires more energy and effort and just, exertion to comment, being a minority in the space.
It's really interesting that you can feel like you can feel overwhelmed or feel like you're in a masculine environment even when you are sat alone on a laptop. You still get that feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, I am very aware that, there are regular commenters, particularly Twitter users, because I love the Twitter community more so than I love the YouTube community. But they are very male. And you get people who are commenting on every single thing that you post. And what's really weird is when they're commenting on everything that you post on Twitter and on Instagram and on YouTube and on Facebook. And you're putting out these things on social media. They are public. You're putting them out for people to look at. But when people consistently respond to every single thing, it feels like one person is watching everything you do.
Yeah.
And that seeps into your real life. And you feel like you're being watched the whole time, and that you're being judged, and it just became a bit much. And so then I just had to take a Twitter break and just not post things. And like my YouTube, I now think twice about vloggy stuff, like vlogging my life, because I'm like, well, actually I would like to have my life,
Something left for me.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's, and I think that the fact that the people doing that are by and large male, just because that's who my audience are, does have an effect on that. I think if it was women constantly liking all of these posts, it wouldn't be so different, just because there isn't that power dynamic in the world. And that I do have men, typically older than me, watching and liking everything I do, and that is a bit creepy. And so it's not as noticeable on YouTube, but still so many comments are, I like your face, you're so pretty, I want to marry you, I want to have sex with you. Like the coming out video was oh, she's gay, oh no, I can't have sex with you, oh wait, she's bi, so maybe I can have sex with you. Like, that is the focus.
I mean, obviously this isn't true for your whole audience at all.
No.
Guys, appreciate that is definitely not the case.
These are and also it's the vocal people. I am very aware that there is a very large silent minority.
Yes,
majority, sorry.
Yeah, there will be a silent audience and invisible audience who are enjoying your science for the science and aren't saying.
And when they do speak up, like the coming out video, like the imposter syndrome video, like the panic attack video,
telling you that your sound effect was wrong and wasn't
telling me that my sound effect was wrong. But those ones where people say, I don't normally comment, but I feel like I just want to give you my support, it means so much.
So please do. And if there are any ladies watching and you're not being represented by the analytics, please speak up and say hi and tell us what, as just science communicators, what you want to watch, because it genuinely is a problem amongst science on YouTube, is how to get the females and the ladies watching. So do let us know.
And if you've listened to any of these Sofa Sciences, you will know that this is a consistent theme.
Yes. Talking more positive things.
Yes.
What video are you most proud of?
See, I've been asking this question for the last 3 months and I still haven't come up with an answer for myself. It is, by and large, the one that I've done most recently, because I always try and make each video better than the last.
It's a good way to go.
And I still don't have a single video where I am 100% happy with it, and I'd be like, because I have my channel as my portfolio, I still don't have a video where I can show it to, say, the BBC, this is what I can do.
Oh, I know. I feel exactly the same. Every time I produce something, no matter how much time I've spent on it, I always think I could have done better.
Yeah.
It's not ready yet.
Yeah. And especially because there was a period of about a year when I wasn't making science videos, it felt like in my head I was at a certain level as a science YouTuber, like, I know what I'm doing. But then if I looked at the videos that I'd actually made, that didn't reflect my own value of myself as a YouTuber. And then it becomes really weird. Like, how do you value your skill as a YouTuber if your skill is higher than the video that you've actually made? But so in the most recent one, so I do really love the Tragedy of the Commons video. And that is an area where I do want to go into, where it is beautiful. I just love the cinematography of that one more than any of the other ones, because I do want my videos to be entertainment. I think I've been thinking hard about kind of what I want. It's like, what is the meaning of life? Like, why do we do any of this? Because I have had to decide between academia and communication. Do I want to be the one that finds out new things in the world, or do I want to be the one that tells people about it? And actually, I just want to entertain people, I think, at the end of the day.
So it's how do you make SciComm, science communication, entertaining, and one step further than that is how do you make it entertaining to an audience who might not necessarily be looking for science.
And it's
got to be accessible.
And by entertaining, I don't mean funny, I mean just something that makes someone else's day a little bit better.
Oh.
And it happens, it happens to be science because that's what I'm good at. If I was good at improvised comedy, I would probably be doing improvised comedy. If I was good at acting, I would probably be doing dramas, like we were saying. Like, is that a fox?
I think
Is that the cat?
I think there's a fox having some happy times.
Oh look, there's 2 cats standing off.
Oh. Ginger, you can do it! Yours would lose in a fight.
It's because I've been cuddling too much. He's got soft.
Sorry for that brief interlude.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that will make it in, but my cat was just having a fight with another cat.
As you do.
Next door. You were talking about the video you were most
I
proud
want to
of.
entertain people. So yeah, try
Yes.
to do the comments I really like. I do also really, it's an old one, but I do really like the rock pooling video as well.
Oh, I love that
Because
one.
that was the first one where I didn't use a script. It wasn't the standing against a background talking to a camera that every other science video had been kind of up to that point. Because this was before there was any real money in science YouTube. So it really was people taking vlogs and talking about science whilst using the vlog format of talking straight into the camera, dead on, sometimes with jump cuts. Whereas this was I literally deliberately had watched the Brian Cox Wonders of Life documentary, seen the graphics of that, seen how beautiful it was. I'm like, I am going to copy that. And I just really like the tone of that video, and that's something that I really want to aim more for.
Very calm.
Yeah, so I think both of them are similar in that I'm not just talking to a camera, I'm going out and exploring, which is so difficult to do when there's no one else to hold the camera.
Yeah.
So both of them...
Which is what I do, I guess. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
both
difficult.
of them I've got my friends to do it. One of them didn't know anything about cameras, but I'm just like, hey, I'm going up to this cottage on the coast. Do you want to come with me for free and just hold a camera for one afternoon on the beach?
Yeah.
The other one, I am training how to use a camera.
Yeah.
And she is currently getting quite interested in starting her own YouTube channel. So that's made it a lot easier to now be like, oh, well, I can go into a field and film it because I can make sure that it's in focus.
Yeah.
And be on both sides of the camera. Like, yeah. So whilst it's not like I have a camera person, I will set up all the technical sides of the camera, but I will say, okay, hold this button down. Is the green box over my face? Yes. Press the top right-hand button with the magnifying glass twice. Is my eye in focus? Yes. Press it once again. Now press the 1-3 because I know my camera.
Yeah.
Literally all the specifics. But it's enough, and they're learning, and so yeah, it's really nice, and I think that helps a lot, and I cannot wait to get to the point where I can have a proper person filming with.
So would you like to work with a team?
Not so much a team as I think having specific jobs. I think I would probably start out with having a camera person / editor, but it would very much be me calling the shots and hiring them rather than a we work on it together sort of thing.
How do you feel about editing, Sally?
Oh my god. I hate editing so much. I love learning it and knowing that I am learning. It's one of the things where I can really say, I did not know how to do this before, now I know how to do it. But I just don't enjoy it. It's having to kill your darlings, having to cut out the stuff.
Kill the babies.
Yeah, so having to cut out the stuff that's really good. And then inevitably have comments about it saying, well, why didn't you mention this? I'm like, I did, but it got lost on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. To make it watchable.
Yeah.
A watchable length for you.
And I've never studied film. I don't exactly know innately what a well-edited thing looks like.
Yeah.
And that's the particularly strong thing with audio. I don't know what good audio sounds like, and it's a really weird, it's like that Ira Glass quote about taste. Some people have the creators have great taste, and so that's what gets them into creating, and then they realize that their stuff is rubbish, but their taste is still great, and so they feel that they're rubbish, and you've got to just suck until you become good.
I totally get that.
But so for me, that is finding a science story. I think that's where my strength is in taking some dry science that has been written for an academic journal and finding the story in it and knowing what level the audience is at and teaching it at that level. That's, I think, where my taste is. I think my taste is in the storytelling aspect. My taste is not in how to edit, how to film, how to light. And that makes it very difficult for me to learn because I don't really know what it is I'm aspiring to.
You said that you were inspired in one of your edits by Brian Cox's
Yeah.
show. What YouTube has inspired you, and what do you watch? What do you watch on YouTube? That can be science or it can be anything.
Starting with inspiration, if I'm really stuck in a rut, I will watch Vsauce 3 because I love the theatricality of it. It's entertainment at its purest. It is cinematic. It's rehearsed. It's clever. It's obviously been crafted many times and works on many levels, and it happens to be scientific. It wouldn't have to be, but it is. And that is great. And I am at the moment, so that's just kind of I aspire to be like, this is great content.
That's a goal. That's the dream.
So if I can make something like that, that would be great. At the moment, I'm trying to make videos in the style of other people's. I was going to do an all-out series. It was going to be called something like F1 Cross for hybrids or something. It's like Shed Science hybrid of, say, Shed Science versus Cross Veritasium, which would be one where I interview the public. Or a Brain Scoop. I volunteer in a natural history museum where I go behind their collections. And now I think I won't do that series per se, but I'll just do it more subtly.
Yes.
So
have a go at maybe some green screen studio work.
Yeah.
Have a go at being in a museum.
Trying out all of these different formats and seeing what works, really. So I did a Starfish musical video, which was inspired by Sam Shui and other YouTube artists. And just the way that they had themselves doing lots of things. I think that's great. I just really like that and being able to pick out the different styles. I haven't really settled on one. What I actually watch as a person, mostly vlogs.
Yeah.
I really connect to people. And I've been thinking about my taste in films.
When you say vlogs, I find the word vlog very confusing now, because for me a vlog used to be a video where it would be one person or maybe two doing a collaboration or a challenge in a bedroom talking to a camera. But now vlog also means like your daily travel vloggers, for example. So now is a vlog now taking a camera around on a daily basis, or is a vlog simply a video log? What do you mean by vlog?
To me, a vlog is a video in which the person is the content.
Right. So whether that's them sat in the bedroom talking about their day, or whether it's them carrying a camera around with them, doing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of where they're all kind of friendship building videos.
Yeah.
They're not. I've been learning about parasocial relationships, basically just a one-sided relationship. But it's so primarily, for example, the UK vloggers. So that's Jack and Dean and Dodie and Hazel and Dan and Tom and
Louise.
Those lot. I watch a lot of them. And when it comes to films that I enjoy as well, I realise that because, yes, Simon, I know that you hate my taste in films. But the ones that I like are really people-driven. So, Concussion and Spotlight and Room I watched recently. And Her... No, is it called Her? Yeah, it is called Her.
Films I find that I enjoy are very much driven by characters, and I think it's the same with vlogs.
Yes.
It's that whilst they are real people, you're really connecting to people. And science communication that I like focuses on the people in science.
Yes.
What else do I watch? I obviously watch a lot of science videos because
partly it's my friends, partly it's inspiration as to how other people do things, partly it's research. You need to know what's going on in your area. There are very few channels in science where I suppose at the end of a long day I would put on that video.
I completely agree with you. And I almost don't want to admit it, but when you have had a long day and you are living this world of making science YouTube and you are watching it for research, actually, when you do just want to switch off, or you want to pop something on when you're doing your makeup, or just before you go to bed, or when you're cooking dinner, it's not the time to concentrate and learn something. It's the time just to listen to some people who've been to Thorpe Park and having a laugh.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's really human. And it's the reason I still like, I'll watch a haul video every now and then. I'll watch a challenge video, because you don't have to concentrate much. It makes you laugh, and it can blow over your head.
You can stick it on in the background for a bit while you're checking your Twitter. It's very low requirement.
Yeah.
And it does just feel, it's just nice to have talking on in the background sometimes when I don't know, doing your eyebrows or something.
So I wonder, and this is something that I do on my channel, is that I try and make my videos as vloggy as possible. Because I know that personally that's the type of videos I like to make.
Yeah.
I wonder if all of us science communicators, again, I'd be interested to hear from the commenters. I'm totally just like asking the audience here for my own personal interest. But if all of these science channels had second vlog channels and vlogged not about science but just about their daily lives, of course science will become part of it, because naturally you're going to be doing research. Would that be something the audience who enjoy our science videos would like to watch? I would love to think that we could all have this like sub-vlog series that we all have going on, but I'm not sure if the audience would cross over.
My gut reaction is no.
Really?
Because
but
my
would it attract the girls?
This is why I did a year of vlogging, because I hoped that it might attract more girls. It didn't. My American vlogs, not. I mean, it's hard because you've self-selected for the people that watch your content for science, and then you start making vlogs. So very few of them are interested in vlogs, but vlogs are quite difficult, to discover.
Yeah.
And so you end up with very few people watching them and very few new people finding them, because you're not collaborating with vlogging channels.
Yes.
But also, having spoken to quite a few people on Sofa Science, God, I made it sound like that, like Sofa Science was an established thing there. Having spoken to some people on Sofa Science,
I mean, just keep saying it, people will believe it.
I feel like scientists, more than most YouTubers, want their videos to be about the science and not about themselves. And that actually we're quite a private bunch of people.
But are we?
I mean, yes.
Do we all secretly wish we had vlogs?
I mean, I do have a second channel.
Yeah.
For videos where I just want to put up a video, but I don't really want people to watch it, if that makes sense. I think I've now got 300 subscribers on that channel, and I really hope it doesn't grow.
Sally has a second channel, by the way.
It's my semi-secret second channel, that's what I call it. I don't want that audience to grow. I really like having a tiny audience. It's enough for people to say, that was a nice video.
We need to stop talking about it.
It's so small that I do not put any effort into it.
And that's probably its charm.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And
I love it.
It's probably why people do like it.
And that's why I don't want people to find it. I mean,
this is the URL.
You can find it, but yeah, so in terms of getting other people vlogging, I have also thought about doing a series of collaborations with vloggers. One problem with that, I'm not friends with any vloggers.
No,
but a lot of them are interested in science, and I think their audiences would be interested in science, and it's part of being a person. And whilst I don't want my content to be about me as a person, I know that that's a really good way to reach non-scientific audiences.
Yeah.
If I make the content about the science, I will reach scientifically minded audiences, and that's great. But I won't reach the people that are non-scientifically minded. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah. I think maybe that's why I'm not reaching the science audience.
because I'm reaching the vlog audience for the wrong ones. But never mind. Tell us a little bit about you outside of your PhD and your YouTube channel. What else do you love and enjoy?
You've kind of ruled out no, it's not that bad, but those are, I mean, I'm pursuing 2 careers at once. It's pretty time consuming. I like music. I play clarinet and piano, as Maddie has just learnt this evening. And I now play in an orchestra. 2 orchestras now, I just joined another one. I spend a lot of my free time with my friends. I have a really lovely bunch of friends at university who are not YouTube minded in the slightest.
It's always a good thing.
They're very supportive. They're like, oh, well done, you did a thing, congratulations. But it's not a big thing for them. And we will meet up in the bar, we will watch films together, just generally just hang out. That's a lot of my time. Because working on your PhD, you can just be working on your own a lot or only talking about work. And with YouTube, you're working on your own, so it's just really nice to actually talk to people. I did a bit of gardening. Yeah, I think music is my main hobby at the moment because it's quite difficult to keep it more than one. I used to do more dancing. I used to not like proper dancing, but like Zumba for fitness, a bit of salsa just for fun, a bit of swing, West Coast swing just for fun, but I'm not like good at it. And I used to do nature photography, which I hardly do anymore, like walks in the countryside, those kind of things. But it's so hard to maintain that I'm now like, okay, I have my orchestra.
Yeah.
That's my focus.
I think it's good that you even have hobbies. They're sometimes difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
And just like an extension of that, if there's one thing that you would like your audience to know that they don't already know about you, I know this is a question you like to ask people.
I always ask everybody this, and I don't have an answer for it ready.
I mean, obviously you've done your coming out video recently, so that was quite big news, but everyone knows that now.
Yeah.
Or yes and no, in terms of it being...
It's really weird, because to me it's not big news.
Exactly, that's what I mean, so it's not...
Yeah.
So that aside, are there any other things?
Yeah, I suppose the main stuff that I want people to know is the stuff that we've been talking about, is kind of how I really am having to rethink my attitude towards my audience and the value that I get from the comment section, and how I manage my comment section to get more value out of it, both for me and for other viewers. And what do I want them to know? I want them to know that
make a mean meringue roulade.
I do make a mean meringue roulade. Comments do affect you, and nobody admits how much the comments affect them.
Yeah.
And I think that things like this Safer Science do help, but until you have been on the receiving end of, it's like death by 1,000 pinpricks or whatever the saying is.
Yeah.
Each comment in isolation is so easy to brush off, and so when people say, oh, you're blocking this comment, but it's so mundane and harmless, but when you receive hundreds of them, that's when it really does affect your mental health. So yeah, I think it's we have our reasons for doing things on YouTube, and sometimes we won't tell you because often part of the problem
takes a full hour
and yeah, because I don't want to be negative on YouTube. I do put on a persona of being happy and not being affected by the comments, but
of course,
but obviously I'm human.
Yeah.
I am human. I want you to know, in case you didn't already know, that I am a human being with feelings. Who, like, what? I
know.
It sounds so stupid to say, and it sounds really patronising to remind people of that.
You're a strong character as well, so it won't necessarily be assumed that would even remotely bother you.
Yeah.
It's funny, I'm now sort of seeing Safer Science as just therapy for science communicators.
It really is. It really is. I have had multiple people say that.
It's so funny.
Sit down on my sofa.
I feel like I want to ask a final question.
Okay.
Just so we don't end there, and that is a really tough one because I couldn't answer it, but is 5 years' time? Do you have an idea where you would like to be in 5 years' time?
5 years' time. So I will be 4 years after the end of my PhD. I don't know whether I'll be in the UK or the US, but almost entirely one of those two. my ideal situation, and you have to wait until I get to the end of this because everyone stops me halfway through. I would like to work for, say, 2 or 3 days a week. And everyone's like, oh, wouldn't we all? On a on a long-term, like, salaried position. So be that making videos for the BBC or for Rooster Teeth or for Full Screen or even someone like Netflix is something that we haven't even talked about.
And that would give you an opportunity to work in a team.
Would give me an opportunity to work in a team, to work on bigger projects, and then that would give me the security to take more risks in my freelancing, because I wouldn't constantly have to make videos that I know get the clicks in order to get the ad revenue to pay for my rent. I would have my rent secure and I would still be doing something creative, but I would also have a few days a week to make my own videos so that I don't get into that position where it feels too much like work.
Yeah.
Where you're making it because you have to make it and you lose any joy out of making it. And I think having some of the time permanent, you get the benefits of security, and having some of it non-permanent, you get the benefits of it not feeling so much like a chore. Obviously, there will be times when it feels like a chore, because all elements are going to be boring in some sense. Editing will always be boring. But hopefully that would mitigate and give me the best of both worlds. That's an ideal scenario.
But also, what's nice about that sort of like that dream working for an organisation and having the time to freelance is that it takes the pressure off always having to sell yourself.
Yes.
And you don't become the subject of everything you do. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, any final last words?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't even have to sell all my social media because everyone knows it already because you just found this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for watching So for Science. I'm not Sally LePage, but this
I am
is.
Sally LePage. I'm not Maddie Moat. Thank you for interviewing me.
You're very welcome.
And
I've loved this.
If you enjoyed this, thank Maddie because it was her idea to do this video.
Yeah, my turn to be nosy. Mm-hmm. But follow Sally on all her social media accounts. You can find her on Twitter loads.
So much.
Instagram a little bit. And what are you on Instagram?
I am. I'm on Snapchat as well, but no one knows. Don't bother.
And she has this second channel she doesn't want you to know about either. So go flood that.
Good luck finding that.
And she'll see you soon.
Bye.